Okay.
Hello, hello, hello,
Hi.
everyone.
Hello. It's
She's
time for
making
the
fun because I was singing a song.
a song she made up, this a fake theme song for the Love You Life podcast, which is not our theme song.
We're still preparing, guys. We're still preparing to have official Love You to Life theme song. I mean, we have our opening music, but I feel, do we have a songwriter in the community that want to write us a Love You to Life podcast song?
Oh boy, here
Maybe we're
she goes.
crowdsourcing.
Oh, we're
Anyway,
gonna with it. Okay.
yeah, we are talking about a topic today that is not anybody's topic. Like, do people like
What?
talking about this topic? I don't think this is anybody's favorite topic.
I mean, it's a
We literally were like, should we even talk about this?
we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it because we love you to life. We're gonna do it.
Whew, we're having a conversation today, guys, because I think everybody likes to talk about making more money, spending more money, and there's a lot of conversation around like the economy and the stress and the pressure of the financial situation. There's a lot of these conversations going on, and I hear people saying like how to cut your expenses, how to cut out extravagance, living beneath your means. Everybody's having these kind of conversations. We like to have not we like to have conversations that are not restrictive. We like to have conversations that are expansive. And so it's not that we are going to tell you not to do those things. Some things we'll tell you not to do, but it's not that we're going to tell you so much of what not to do or what to do. We want to talk beneath the strategies that you might be hearing around because money strategies won't fix the things that you won't face. And a lot of what we really need to talk about when it comes to money has to do with our experiences around money.
Right.
So you
And the
probably have a
awareness
Google story. Yeah,
and the awarenesses that we have as we are dealing with whatever a money situation is. And I want to
right.
make sure y'all know neither one of us is an accountant and neither one of us got no MB or the A. We're not majored in finance. This is just what they call that motherwit conversation, some things that we have learned from experience and the things that we have become aware of because of our emotional intelligence and our and
Yeah.
how emotions work now. So we're just sharing this with you. Hey, eat the meat, spit out the bones.
And here's the thing, guys. We are at the
What?
time of this release,
Oh,
neither
Jesus.
one of us are manifested millionaires. We are
Not all
in
at one time. Not all at
right.
one time. And
We've
that's something
generated millions of dollars in
right?
revenue. But
Mm-hmm.
like to see $1 million sitting in your bank account at one
Right.
moment, whoop,
Right.
that's a work in progress. And
Right.
we are on this journey with you. Like most things that we talk about on the Love You Life podcast, we are on this journey with you. Sometimes we're a step ahead of you, sometimes we're a step behind. But one of the things that we are doing throughout this process, and I had a client tell me this recently, like, I thought I had fixed my money stuff. And she realized like she fixed it at one layer, but there's another layer and
There's
another
layers
layer
to
and
this.
another
There's
layer.
layers to this. That's the thing about it that we don't talk about enough is the layers to everything that is a part of your healing journey. You
Yes.
might have got yourself together in this one area of this one category, but then another area shows up.
Correct. So we're not
Mhm.
going to talk to you today about your budget. We are, however, going to talk about money. And part of the reason, like part of why this kind of came up is because, we are always looking to be expansive. We are also always looking to experience life and that more abundantly. And that does include your money. And
Right.
we were recently, Liz had passed along a sermon that Dr. Cindy Trim had done. And she was talking about, first of all, she read us for Phil,
Yeah.
about all the things that you have in your life that are basically like poverty cues.
Mhm. Mhm.
And she went down a list. I think it was like 12 things. I think I had 11. I had like one. I was like, "Oh,
How
not it."
rude. How
Yeah,
rude.
I had that one, but I had like most of them. And part of these are things that you don't really think about. Like one of them was like, I had like a little loose, like a little trim on my floor, and I could have fixed that trim.
It was about
I
tolerating.
stepped over that trim 7 times, kicked it this way, kicked it that way. But she's like, "Listen, if there's something in your house that is out of order or, like needs to be painted, needs to be whatever, like you need to give yourself visual cues basically of the fact that you are becoming abundant. And I have been doing that. So I hung some new pictures because I really wanted like a little gallery wall. Like I've been doing different things. And so what we want to get really, really clear about is that there is a cost to you not addressing these things that are really related to your money story. And
Ooh.
it's probably showing up in a lot of different ways around your life, and you may not have been paying attention to them. So it's not that you have a spending problem necessarily, but you probably have something that you need to address. And why are you giggling? Why are you giggling?
I just thought I just had this thought about people saving grease. I remember
Why would that be your thought?
because
Why?
I did that in college. In college, I saved grease because it's what I saw mom and daddy do. I saved grease. Now, if y'all don't know nothing about this, if you are so far removed that y'all family didn't do this, God bless you. But here's what would happen. In our family, when you got done with the grease, you would strain the grease out so that any particles or anything. Listen, if your family saved grease, I need you to support me in this, okay? If your family saved grease, I need you to put something in the comments. I need you to share this video, send it to me and say, Liz, yes, my family did this. Listen, there was a container on the stove that had grease in it and you recycled the grease. That's what we're going to call it. We call it recycling the grease.
Recycling.
Grease recycling. Like you would, if you cook some chicken, some fried chicken, then you would strain the grease and take, who started it? Why did they start it? Was there not enough grease? Was grease expensive? Like, why was that happening? I don't know. Okay, but cooking oil, cooking oil. If you listen to this and you don't call it grease, cooking oil, okay, your Crisco. Once it would be cooked, you would strain it and you would take out any particles in there and dump that. And you would take the rest of it and you would put it in the container and put it on the stove. And I remember, and I'm gonna get him for this. My husband's best friend, Keith, was over to my college apartment. He was like, Liz, well, what is the what is the grease? And he's just that kind of person. He will always pick with you about stuff. But Keith was the first person I think who ever said something to me about why you got that grease can.
Wait a minute. So are we saying that people don't all have grease cans?
I don't think everybody had one. Now, Keith, at that time, he was the kind of person, before his lovely wife came into his life, he never ate nothing anyway. He wouldn't eat nothing but that his mama didn't cook anyway. Now he has a more mature palate. But before that, he probably wasn't paying attention in kitchens anyway to see how that worked. You know, and
Because he
guys,
wasn't gonna eat
if
the
they're
food
not
no way.
right, and men at that, if he wasn't cooking and stuff, he also may not have paid attention. But our parents, my grandma, I remember people having a container of grease on the stove and they would just take a little spoon or either just pour it into the skillet for whatever they're going to make and they would use that grease. And then I'm wondering, like, when did y'all throw the grease out? How long did y'all keep the grease?
Your parents
Okay.
didn't throw out no grease, first of all.
Okay, if anybody has an aging parent, grandparent, auntie, whatever, can you ask them why was we keeping the grease? Because we would like to know. But I've just the reason why it popped in my head so clearly as something that probably does not signal abundance to
Mm.
yourself, that you are keeping some grease on the on the stove. And also, if you currently have some grease on the stove, let us know.
I want you guys to know something, and I don't know that we've ever really talked about this on the podcast, but we have outlines for the podcast. We go over the topics. We don't have a script, okay? We have outline. And we kind of like reference stories that we're gonna maybe bring up. And sometimes we'll veer right on off of that. This is a veer right on off of that, okay? This was not on any of our outlines. It wasn't in any of our pre-episode conversations.
Forget you. Forget you. I can't help it. It popped in my head like poof, grease on the stove. That's a lack of abundance.
What she's basically saying
Oh
is
God. Yes.
generational poverty doesn't start in your bank account. It
Right.
starts
That's the
in the
part at
way
your
that you
paycheck.
live.
Right. It is the messages, it is the subtle subliminal messages that you are sending to yourself all the time that probably need your attention. Now, I'm not a feng shui person. I don't even really understand it all the way. I understand it to mean that certain ways that things are arranged in your home trigger certain feelings in your home. And so I'm just curious if you got that recycled grease in your home, if your home feels
Mhm.
abundant or not. I'm just curious about it. I don't know.
Oh.
And so I no longer have that grease, and I don't remember when I stopped
First
it.
of all, when's the last
But
time you fried something? When's the last time you fried something?
girl, first of all, I don't like for my house to smell like fried food.
Right. When was the last time you fried something?
I don't know. Couldn't tell
Right.
ya. Don't know. But
We here's the thing.
what?
We probably as a collective, like in our family, we don't hardly fry no chicken. We don't like if we were to have some fried pork chops, it probably was at a restaurant, like we just don't do a lot of those things. And it's not that we don't enjoy them, but it's just not, it's not part of our lives. So that's why I was like, where did you pull that from? Because when was the last time you saw some grease on the stove, quite frankly?
And that's why I'm saying it just dropped in my memory bank. Bloop. This was not rich. Bloop. This was not
Mm.
abundant.
And here's the thing. That's probably a good segue because I do think that's how it works. I do
Right.
think that that's how, like, you go to the store, you're getting ready to buy something, and you're choosing between 2 things. I think I put up a post, it was probably years ago, and I had, like there was 2, like, packs of ground beef beside each other, and, like, one was a little bit cheaper in price, and I was like, somebody who know me, which one did I pick? And they're like, "Oh, you picked the cheaper one." I'm like, "No, I didn't pick the cheaper one this time," because my organic, idea was like, "Oh, Imma save myself 20 cents." But me now is like, well, that's probably, like, less meat.
Gristle. That's a gristle. That's a gristle to
So
me.
I need I need the right amount of meat, right? But the decision, like though it can be that basic, every single decision that you are making comes from somewhere. It comes from and I think I read somewhere that like a lot of your money stories were actually planted by the time you're like 4 years old, which is odd because you don't necessarily understand the concept of money, but you understand like enough or not enough in your body so that as you grow up, it becomes like that money mindset. So if you grew up in a home where there wasn't a lot, even though you might have a really good income right now, you might not feel like it. Your brain, it might still be responding like you're in survival mode. And you probably have sort of an identity around money that is rooted in your story. And there's a couple of them. And I'm gonna let Liz tell us which one she is, and
What?
then I'll tell her which one I am. So
What?
we have the overspender.
Mhm.
So somebody who doesn't have a budget and they
Mhm.
just spend with reckless abandon. We have the hoarder, who is somebody who is afraid of not having enough or afraid of running out. And this doesn't necessarily mean that just the stuff that you have is good stuff. It just means that you are afraid of not having the thing. There's the avoider, somebody who doesn't want to talk about money, doesn't want to open the bill, doesn't want to look at it, or the overachiever who feels like, hey, I'm just going to stack this coin, stack on stack on stack on stack. So which
Mm.
one are you?
I don't know.
Or I should better say, like, which one shows up for you, in like in terms of a money story that kind of is a pattern.
It's definitely not the hoarder because you know that I will clean out a space in a hot second. It's definitely not the avoider. I am not. I really will dig in and be like, what's the truth? What's the numbers? I'm not the
Mhm.
estimate person. I need the facts. So it's not that one. Okay, so we're gonna look through overspending or overachiever. And it's probably I probably oscillated between those two. And
I'll give
probably
you that.
too. Yeah. And so I tell my story now?
Sure.
Yeah. And so I know that there were times in life when I wanted to look a certain way, even if I
Mhm.
wasn't like, even if I wanted to look a certain way. So one of
Right.
the things that happened for me is growing up, I didn't feel like I had the same clothes that the other girls did, or that I had the cute
Mhm.
stuff that the other girls did. So by the when the time came for me to be able to buy my own things, I really wanted to feel what I would call normal. Like I get to wear
Mhm.
these particular outfits and these kind of things. So there were probably some times when I was overspending based
Yeah.
upon where my budget was at the time because
Right.
I wanted to look a certain way. Fair?
That's your story?
Oh, yeah, that's my story for now. If I had more, I'll share more later.
Okay. So I'm gonna say I think my worst habit would be the avoider. Like it doesn't last long. It's like a temporary. I'll be like, "Ooh, I'm avoiding that." Like it's like the avoider tells me like, "Girl, you see what you just did there?"
What?
But I'm probably lean towards the overachiever. I'm not a spender. I don't hoard, but I'm probably the overachiever. I was
What?
married to an overspender. So
Right,
the combination of the 2
right.
didn't really pan out. So
So are
there's
we
that. So
are
sometimes you'll be in a relationship with somebody who's got a different money trauma or money story than you, and that can show up and create some stuff.
yeah. Easily, because they're not lying when they say opposites attract. The yin and the yang is really something that does show up in relationships often. And so it's so important for you to know your story and for your partner to know their story so that you guys can
Right,
find your healthy middle for your family, right?
right,
Because we're going to need that balance to actually probably live the way we want to live. But
right.
yeah, I probably have gone back and forth between those two. One of the things that came to mind was when I remember my bestie had a birthday gathering for me one year, and it was at a cute little nail shop, and it was just personal friends. We were all getting manis and petties together for my birthday. And so, as I was getting ready that day, I was like, "Oh, everybody's probably gonna have they name brand bag, and I don't have a new name brand bag." So I had a bag, but I didn't have a new one, right? I literally almost went to the store and bought me a bag. I literally almost went to the store and bought me the bag. Like, I know all my friends are gonna have their new bag, and I wanna have my new bag. I mean, I'm the birthday girl. It's my birthday. And I actually stopped and had a conversation with myself about like, "Hey, are these people coming to celebrate you because you carry this bag?
Ooh,
Is your birthday less important if you don't have this bag? Are you less important if you don't have this bag? Why do you feel the need to go and get this bag?" And so I didn't go get the bag. I had the conversation with myself, like, you know what? Sure, you could go get a bag if you wanted to. You have other bags in there. You could always pull one of them out if you want to. If somebody else has a newer bag or has a new bag, tell them that that bag is bad and you love it. That don't mean you have to go get one. And so
right.
I, on purpose, didn't go get it to prove to myself that I was worthy and valuable without a new bag.
Mm. That was good work. You did
It
good work
was.
there.
In the moment, I wore an outfit that I already had, I used a bag I already had, and I had the best time. I had to prove to myself, you are not that person who didn't have nice enough things that you wanted. You're not that person who looks odd in the crowd because of your outfitting or something. You're not that person anymore. So, stop acting like you are.
Yeah, and I think for our friends that are listening, our sisters that are listening, we wanna really draw a shine a little spotlight on the fact that when it comes to talking about money, shame is always in the room.
Period.
And that shame spiral that can occur when you start to think about money, when you start to question how other people will think about you because of the money,
Mhm.
when you start to process where you should be or what you should have, that piece of the puzzle is very overwhelming. It can feel like a moral failure. It can feel like a character flaw. It can feel like you should be embarrassed. Um, and it's so crazy because we're not having these conversations. Like nobody taught anybody any of this stuff. You know what I mean?
No.
Like these were not things that we were taught. You might have been taught to like get a job and work hard and pay your bills. Those were things that most people got, but nobody learned about wealth and abundance and how to avoid debt and how to grow your like all these different things. These weren't necessarily conversations that we were having 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
Our parents gave us what they had, which is go to work, pay your bills.
The
But
end.
as far as what happened after that, they couldn't necessarily give us things. And
Mhm.
they didn't have anybody having these conversations with them. So the fact that you should have known better, like
Mhm.
that motif shows up for a lot of people. And it actually prevents people from getting the help that they need or moving in the right direction. So whether your money story that is not beneficial for you is rooted in perfectionism or people pleasing or and I'm thinking about you people who are still paying other people's cell phone bills, imposter syndrome which your example was probably a little bit of that like popped up,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, imposter
Those are
syndrome.
all like money stories, money narrative, money wounds. So you can go and get a budget, but if you haven't addressed the stuff underneath that, that's why the little app is not really doing you no good.
Ooh, not the little app not doing you no good. Ooh, that is so true, though. That's true. Because I think we don't talk enough about the money story and the money wound that many of us have. And it can look a
Right.
lot of different ways. Like I'm talking about the way I was spending money, but we can also talk about the way a person is saving money. Right?
Yeah.
A person who did all the stuff to get the job and the career that would produce this level of income, but they're
Mhm.
afraid to spend. They
Yes.
have to agonize over every spending decision because they
Yes.
are so obsessed with how they're saving money that they don't even have the opportunity to spend it. So, if we give an example, remember there's probably also the opposite example that is just as unhealthy because both of those things usually are in the same space. Their opposites are going to always exist in that way. So don't ever forget that. If we give you one example but we don't name the other one, you just go ahead and imagine the other one because it's probably there too. Because anything to the extreme is that.
Speaking of extreme,
Oh Lord.
let's
What?
talk about my least favorite person, Dave
Now
Ramsey.
I wanted to tell the people. Let me tell the people. If she can put her she don't she if it's one person on this planet this girl's not about to fool with, it is Dave Ramsey. Yeah, in another episode, you're gonna hear me say that she got that mouth where she can read somebody for filth. Like if like she can really do it in real time. She don't have to prepare. Some of us we have to go and we have to write out how we want to go off on somebody. No, it'll come up from her loins, from the billows in real time. In real time. If she was in Dave Ramsey's face, he would run for cover. Okay, continue.
With them silly looking teeth. Anyway, so I do not like Dave Ramsey.
She don't
Okay.
like
And it's not because I think everything that he says is wrong. I think 90% of what he says is wrong, but it's because he leads with shame. That is my number one reason why I do not like Dave Ramsey. He makes everything about your financial situation shame inducing. He the only time he ever has any like compassion for someone is if somebody has like died or somebody like a husband left a wife or something. Like he has to see you as a complete victim to not shame you. He never, there's no like, it's all very black and white for him. There is no area, no shades of gray. And I hate that. Now, we can talk about the other pieces of the puzzle, like him being completely unethical in the way that he presents himself and the lies that he tells about what it actually takes to be financially free because $1,000 emergency fund isn't even going to pay a month of rent for most people. So it is not an emergency
an
fund.
emergency fund. That's not
But
an emergency.
anyway, so, when we're talking about this conversation around financial freedom and how you can work towards that, specifically for women, especially Black and Brown women, there is a lot of value in you having some safety and independence around. This conversation around money. It's not just working through Dave Ramsey's steps. And if you don't align with that or it feels like it doesn't jive with you, it's because it's not built for you.
Mhm.
We want you to be thinking about your, like identifying those money stories and unlearning those narratives that are, influencing you as about you developing your autonomy and you being safer, you having permission to live the way that you want to live. It's not about checking somebody else's boxes.
Right.
And we don't want you to ever feel like you have to prove something to someone. Like everything Dave talks about is like you have to prove, like you don't deserve to go out to eat. You don't deserve to take a vacation. If you have debt, you don't deserve this. I'm like, okay, that sounds really great. But if your companies make money off of people's debt, then how are you in alignment? If you are on one end of the equation, you don't get to shame the other people on the other end of the equation.
Right.
And that's what he actually does. So
Mhm.
um, I really think that it's important that you look at your wealth as your freedom.
I
That's
like
what
that
we want
idea.
for you.
I like that idea. Yeah, I think we have to go back and say when do I feel like safe, supported,
Mhm,
sound, healthy regarding my finances? And then that becomes your goal, right?
mhm,
Rather than an arbitrary goal just because somebody that says they are a financial planner tells you to do it. I think,
mhm.
gas is now, if we live in the state of Indiana. If you live in the state of Indiana, minimum wage, which I think is this minimum wage, is that federal or is it state to state? It's state to state, ain't it?
Yeah, it's state to state because it's
Right,
different. I think there's like there's a federal minimum, but most states have their own. Mhm.
right. So in our state, you have to work for 45 minutes to afford a gallon of gas.
And a gallon of gas being cut by this ethanol that they're putting in there might not get you to work.
Oh, you have to work by 45 minutes to afford a gallon of gas if you are a minimum wage person, right? A person who works and earns only minimum wage. Like, the conversation that we're having is not realistic for the conditions
Right.
that people are currently living in. And so what we're saying is as a community of women who are overqualified but currently in many cases underemployed, because
Mhm.
some people came in and said, like, we get to lay off all these folks because they are not worthy of this job, and telling a lie while they telling it. We have to figure out what works for us and why it works for us, and why we believe what we believe. Because the truth of the matter is that the systems that are in place are not really protecting us. The systems that are in place
Right.
were not designed to keep us safe. So we have to come
Right.
back around and identify our own safety plans regarding this. So one of those
Correct.
things to do is to ask yourself, why do I believe what I believe about money?
Yes.
Why do I believe what I believe about money? What do I believe my money says about me or doesn't say about me?
Right.
And in what way am I feeding a belief about money that I no longer want to have?
Yes. Yes.
And that's what I did that day when I did not go buy that bag. I did not want to feed the belief that says I am only worthy or valuable if I have this particular thing around my social support system, right? Because that's not true. So likewise, you need to ask yourself some questions about, what are you saying when you're around your support, your peers? What are you saying to yourself about when you're with them? Do you think you have to do a certain thing to be valuable, to be in their circle, to be around them? Or are you willing to give yourself the credit for just being valuable because you are?
That worthiness piece, we probably need to touch on that a little bit too, because I
Mhm,
think that is for a lot of people, um, that I deserve this is
mhm,
the driving force, telling them to buy things or spend things. Um, but it's the same thing of like, oh, I don't deserve this is why we don't, right? Like I could, and the idea that's coming to mind for me is like I used to be a hairdresser, and after I had all four of my children and I'm, working in different capacities, I never went and got my hair done. So I went from like working in a salon and like, you just sit and chip be like, get my hair done, right? So I always had my hair done. I always had my nails done. And there was an entire period of my life where I didn't have my hair or my nails done because I could not justify for myself going to get those things done. And it's not that I couldn't do it myself. I mean, I did it myself, but like I enjoyed that.
the
And
experience.
so that worthiness of like, this isn't a waste of money, or is this a waste of like so what I think the point I want to make is it's not there's no cut and dry answer. And when you listen to a lot of financial experts, they make it seem like it's all the dollars and the cents. It's all the dollars and the cents. But it is about when we talk about loving your life, it's the actual experience. And I'm gonna give a plug and I'll make sure that I put some information up around the episode for I have a good friend, Kira Stevens, who um has a really great book on healing your money wounds. So I'll make sure I drop a link to that book in the show notes because I think it's important to realize that this is not just about a specific number. When we're talking about abundance and freedom and healing those wounds, it's not necessarily a specific number. It might have a number attached to it, but it's an experience. It's a
Right.
feeling. It is a knowing. It is emotional. It is physical. The toll that financial stress and pressure puts on your body, on
Mm.
your expression of your IQ. They've literally done research on this now, right?
Mhm.
Your IQ can't fully be expressed when you were under financial pressure. You can't access all of the intelligence that you have because your
Mhm.
brain is like, "Oh, I don't know what to do." So, it is not just you swiping that card, it's biological, it's
Right.
emotional, it's spiritual,
Mhm.
and we really want to move you in the direction of, like, I wanna encourage you to have some money conversations, have some time in reflection and journaling around these feelings. Just like you were talking about, just like really sitting with yourself and processing through, like, "Oh, why am I doing this? Am I doing this? I'm not doing this." Or, what should I do to say it? That's really what this is. It's not just the app. It's not
Right.
just the budget. And it's not for a lot of us, it's not just going to get another job.
No.
Because
Right,
sometimes
because
we can
many times
earn our way out of it.
right, but if you have not dealt with the underlying emotions, the underlying beliefs about you as a person, it doesn't matter how much money you have. That's why it's always so I think I can bring in my athletic background here. And so many times people are judging professional athletes who go bankrupt or who are
Mhm.
who make the news regarding, their financial strain. We always got something to say. We'll always be like, how could you have that much money and then not have anything left over or not have anything saved or have to file bankruptcy? And that's because the person who earned the money is not didn't have that resolved, didn't have
Right.
those money stories, money beliefs, money wounds healed before they got the money. So, what might be $100,000 to us is $1 million to them. It's the same thing to them. It doesn't feel like $1 million necessarily. And here's the thing: if it does feel like $1 million, many times people think it's going to go much further than it actually can even go.
Right.
Because here's another layer of the money conversation. That is the people that we support with our money, if we are supporting people with our money. And that is the thing that sometimes goes unsaid when we're talking about those
Mhm.
public figures that we think should have it all together. When the truth of the matter is that it's a whole nother conversation to have when you are supposed to be having this kind of access to finance and to cash. And then people that you once loved or people that you knew or people that you currently love ask you for quote unquote help and how you answer those people. So that's a whole nother can of worms that we haven't even talked about because for some people, the difference between their financial dream and their current status is the money that they're giving to other people. It's the bills that they're paying for other folk. It's the folk they keep bailing out. The Bible says, can I tell the Bible here? The Bible says the small foxes spoil the vine. So how many times do you think a little 50, a little 50, a little 50, a little 50 is going to add up? It will add
It
up.
adds up,
A
y'all.
little
It be
hundred, a
adding.
little hundred, a little hundred, a little hundred. It will add up. Right. And so many times in my work with professional athletes, one of the things I help them do is to learn how to say no to those
Mhm.
people that need to be able to take care of themselves financially. And also, I've also helped players learn how to make a plan to share the portions of their money that they are capable of sharing responsibly for them so that they will not be the ones to look back over their lives and not have anything to show for the fact that they put their time and their bodies on the line for
I
these
got you.
careers and don't have nothing left over. So many times we're not looking at like, hey, what does my family believe about the money that I earn?
Right.
How am I responding to what my family believes about the money that I earn? Right? Like that's a whole nother level of conversation that it needs to be in here. And we got to be honest about that if we ever plan on actually achieving financial freedom. And so one of the things I'm always telling my clients, my high achieving clients that I work with as far as coaching, if you are tired of being the bank and the backbone, you better find
Woo-hoo.
your boundaries. Do I need to repeat that?
Yes.
Okay, if you are the high achiever, you know who you are. We have talked about high achievers on the podcast before. If you have not gone back over and listened to it, go back over, find out where you fit in this high achieving conversation, but you know who you are. If you are a Black woman with that college degree, that extra degree, that certification, that PhD, you the one with the 800 credit score, you the one everybody comes to. If you are tired of being the bank and the backbone, you better find your boundaries. Hello, hello, somebody. Amen, Walls.
She
Amen,
talking to
ceiling.
y'all.
Amen, ceiling. And so I have been that girl. I have been that girl. There was a relative in my family who called me regularly for money. One day she called me and said, "Can you wire me $1,500?" I was on my way to work and she asked me to stop what I was doing and wire her 1,500.
That tell you how long ago this was because people would have just said cash at me.
For a long time, right? For a long time, I was that call for folks. And so I understand what it means to be the high achiever who has to find the boundaries to not be the bank and the backbone. And so
But I
there's no
need to
shame
touch
in
on
my
this. I need to
what?
touch on this too because this is generational. Because our
Right.
parents were
Right.
that in many instances,
Yes.
right? Our
Yes.
parents were that. So, like, on both sides. So, like, it wasn't just like one or the other, it was like on both sides. So, they did it for their kids and then for, cousins and extended family. So you might have come through this very organically. You might have come by this experience genetically, like it was passed down to you. So
Yeah.
while you're saying, like, I need to use this strategy. Why is this strategy not working for me? It's not working for you because the healing hasn't happened yet. And
Right.
so it might be that your healing work needs to happen before your strategy work, or at least together in some capacity. So it's not just a budgeting issue, it's a belief issue, it's a mindset issue, it's a boundary issue. It's all of those. And then the budget can become easier.
Right.
So that's why we wanted to make sure that we touched on this episode because while, you know, I would love to believe that things are going to bounce back with the economy. And we pray for everyone to have all of their needs met. But as we are in this rocky place, that's one of those things that comes up. Like when maybe you have made a conscious decision that you are going to like hold on to money in a particular way. And the people around you are like, well, can't you help me? And you have to help differently. Like, hey, I can pray for you. Hey, I can babysit the kids, or hey, I can give you this much, but not that much. And you need to be prepared to have those types of conversations. If you're on one side of the equation, if you're on the other side of the equation, you need to, do some different type of work. But, all of that is such a deeper conversation than just spend this, don't spend that.
Right, because your financial freedom is not tied to a budget. It's tied to what you're willing to face in your
Mm.
about your beliefs, about your behaviors, about your fears. That is what you got to do. So I think that's good. What you think?
Um, you know, I think that that's good because we care about our people,
Hmm.
loving their lives, and that may include a particular number in your bank account. But more importantly, it's the story in your head. We
You
want
know
the
what?
story in your head to be better.
Right. I would add one more thing here, and that is when you were talking about earlier about deserving this or not deserving this, I really want to encourage our lovey to lifers to identify the feeling they want to have about their money and then
Mhm.
ask themselves, are they going to have that feeling? So, as an
Right.
example, when you're getting ready to make a financial choice, you want to say, if you said that I want to feel joyful about my money, then it's going to
Yes.
say, I deserve to feel joy. Is this a decision that puts me in the space of joy? If
Right.
the opposite of that is fear, or if the opposite of that is strain, or if the opposite of that is regret, I don't deserve to feel regret. So I'm not
Period.
going to do the following thing. I don't deserve to feel strain. So I'm not going to do the following thing. Sometimes we can even take the money amount out, replace it
Mhm.
with the value that we want to feel, the feeling that we want to have. And that makes the decision crystal clear. So the next time somebody wants to sell you something, the next time somebody wants to borrow money from you, the next time you are considering buying something, ask
Right.
yourself, hey, what feelings do I want to have about my money in the next week? Would this decision help me to feel that way? Or does this decision have me feeling another way? And you're probably going to know what to do. Is
Period.
that good? Yeah.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, guys, here's what we want to know from you in the comments because we want you to do all the things. We want you to like this. We want you to rate it. We want you to review it. We want you to share it.
Mhm.
If you've seen a clip of this and you want you to pass along the clips, make sure that you're following us because we have all of our socials in the description around this episode, whether you're watching us on YouTube or catching us on Spotify or Apple. And here's what we want to hear in the comments from you on this episode. What money story have you identified that you are now ready to let go of?
Mm.
What money story have you identified that you are now ready to let go of? Drop it in the comments so that we can hype you up. Because here in Love You to Life land, we hype up all the good things. We don't need no shame and blame and guilt over here. We just gonna do this work and get this life.
And don't
And what
forget, tell me if you got grease on your stove. Just wanted to know. I just wanted to know who got grease. I just want to know if anybody understand. Whoever is anybody recycling grease. I just want to know.
tell her if y'all recycle grease.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we'll see y'all next time.
Bye, guys.